Ain't got nobody to make me a theme song, so let's just do a video game. This is nanDEMOnai. We're checking out the demo for Sound of Drop, Fall into Poison. Looks like a visual novel, just by the presentation. But that's all I can guess at, so let's just get right to it. Get right to it. There we go. Before she realized it, the girl was standing before an imposing door. The girl occasionally came to Mountain Aquarium alone. She watched the manta rays. She watched the jellyfish. Finally, she decided it was time to go home.
Where is this?
She had her doubts, but there should be nothing else there except for the aquarium. She assured herself that she had probably wandered off into a side path. The door before her had a large padlock hanging from it, just as she had heard. It was unlocked and merely dangling there. The girl drew in a breath. Being locked would usually mean that it was a place she shouldn't enter. Being open just meant that a staff member had forgotten to lock it, so going in was out of the question. Her curiosity piqued. She was past the point of persuasion. Her imagination ran wild, and her mind raced at the prospect of what might lie beyond the door.
Just for a little bit.
And then there was trouble. She opened the door and saw lots of glass tanks. Several types of fish hailing from the deep seas, from football fish and oarfish to pelican eels and barrel eyes, were swimming about.
Why isn't this an exhibit?
She thought it over, wondering why this would be in a closed-off area. Behind her, the door shut on its own. The girl spaced out, staring at the deep-sea fish swimming about. They would leap from the tank and swim in midair. Oh! Okay. The entirety of the room was the fish in their ocean. Though it was an unnatural occurrence, the girl treated it as quite normal.
Wasn't there originally a deep-sea fish booth that was shut down?
Mysteries. Blood vessels. She suddenly remembered. At that moment, her surroundings were dyed a deep red. The water in the tanks, the fluorescent lights, all of it was red. The girl's vision also became red. When she opened her eyes, the girl was back in her own room. It was well into the night. She couldn't remember how she'd gotten home after all of that. But more importantly, she had a bad feeling about something else.
It isn't red here.
She became aware of how hard it suddenly was to breathe. No matter how hard she gasped, she was unable to get oxygen into her body. Like the fish who couldn't breathe anywhere, but in the water, she couldn't breathe unless she was inside that red color. She was convinced. On impulse, she threw open the window, leaned out, and thrust a hand outside. She couldn't inhale the wind flooding her room. She could only smell its milky, unpleasant scent.
More.
At that moment, the girl's body was tossed into the air. For just a second, her body seemed to float like a fish in the sea. Her room was on the 12th floor of her apartment building. I can see where this is going. In her fading consciousness, the girl watched her blood flow endlessly from her body.
It's red.
Only then could she breathe. Now everything would be fine. The girl smiled. The full moon in the night sky smiled too. So, secret exhibit at the aquarium is causing people to commit suicide. Well. Drip. Drip. The sound of falling drops. The moon was concealed behind the clouds, and all of the lights in the town were covered in water, the sound of the only thing left to resonate. She couldn't tell whether it was hot or cold, merely that the humid air was encircling her. Drip, drip. Wherever they were falling to, wherever they were coming from, the drops just continued to trickle out. That single drop. I stopped it with both hands. The sound of that solitary red drop. Okay. We've got a title. We've got an overlay fade in. Oh, hi. Hello.
Or at least there's an urban legend that goes like that.
God,
talking about Montana Aquarium again? That's your new thing, isn't it?
While stuffing her lunch into her mouth, Tamagawa Himeno spoke, her eyes sparkling. I had no idea which point in the story got her so excited.
That's right, isn't it the scariest part? That the girl jumped to her death smiling after coming back from Montana Aquarium. It's pretty bad. Hey, you don't seem the least bit scared, Himeno. That's not true. I've got chills running down my spine. Someone who's got chills running down her spine wouldn't be eating a pastry so cheerfully. And hey, that's my meatball. During a break in the conversation, Himeno stole a side dish from my boxed lunch. This minced meat from growing calves and little piglets. It's the best.
Oh, interesting way to put it.
Why do you have to put it like that? Geez, why'd you have to make me lose my appetite? I'll give you the rest of it. Alright, I'll take it.
Himeno takes the rest of the meatballs from my lunch with amazing rhythm. Okay, so you're the darker-haired girl. The reason that I, Nakanobe Mayumi, lost my appetite wasn't because Himeno's story scared me. Montana Aquarium and I are connected in a way I'd rather not think about. Of course, Himeno has no idea about that connection. If she knew, she'd never mention Montana Aquarium around me again. At the same time, I've been afraid that this thing might cause Himeno to stop talking to me. Himeno is pretty much my only friend. It isn't that I haven't talked to anyone since entering middle school, it's just that the only person I can actually call a friend is Himeno.
Seriously, I think this whole Montana Aquarium rumor obsession is getting to be a bit much. Maybe. There's so many rumors, though. Like that there's a man's ghost in the tanks, or that the deep-sea fish booth is only open on a full moon, that the water changes to blood, or that you can hear crying from behind the tanks. Ah, that early one goes with this one, also. No, that's fine. You don't need to say anymore,
I say firmly, causing Himeno to make a sour face. Soon after, Himeno changes the subject, first to a TV drama that aired the night before, then to some cute fake nails with cats on them she found in a magazine. She then talks about a classmate who was dating a boy from a nearby private school, alighting on one subject before quickly changing to the next. Normally, the subject of Montana Aquarium shouldn't have popped up again.
Anyway, getting back to what we were talking about earlier. Huh? What exactly are we getting back to? Montana Aquarium. I looked into it. This Sunday will be a full moon. Huh?
That was all I could say. The rest of my words unable to come out.
So we should go and see if the rumors are true or not. But... I know you aren't interested in stuff like urban legends, Mayu, but next week we'll start preparing for the end of the semester and I won't be able to hang out with you. Lately we haven't gone anywhere together, have we? If the full moon is next Sunday, I'm sure Himeno wouldn't have said anything, but I suspect it happens to be this Sunday and next week happens to be our exams, so she's chosen Mountain Aquarium. I know that I'm not hiding my confusion or hesitation very well. Even so, Himeno thinks that turns her carefree grin my way. Since it's an aquarium, even if the rumors aren't true, we can still have fun, right? Well, that's true.
Usually, anywhere I go with Himeno, I have fun. Whether or not we'd have fun was not what I was worried about.
By the way, Mayu, the east building of Mountain Aquarium, they have a Haagen-Dazs.
Dots.
Is in the Eden restaurant? They had closed up at one point, but it looks like they're reopening for a limited time. Really? Really, they have the cookies and cream flavor you like too, Mayu.
Of course I hesitate, but in the end, that settles it.
Then we'll go, as long as we'll definitely get some cookies and cream. Saying you have no money because you did too much shopping is out of the question. I know, after all, I'm something of a glutton myself. Fine, fine.
In the end, we settle on Mountain Aquarium and ice cream for Sunday. Since I have already received my reward money for moving on to the next grade, I don't need to worry about my allowance.
Still, it's been 5 years. Did you say something, Mayu? No, nothing.
I bite my tongue, covering the words that had carelessly spilled out.
I'm looking forward to the aquarium. It's probably been about 10 years. I'm looking forward to the cookies and cream. It's probably been about 10 years. That's not true. It's the truth. It's the only thing I'll eat out there.
Himeno goes, "You little," as she playfully stretches my cheeks. The end of the lunch chime sounds, and Himeno goes back to her own seat. If it's with Himeno, I'll be fine. That's what I told myself at the time. And segue. Sunday is 3 days after that. The day I promised to go with Jimeno to Monten Aquarium has arrived. We are to meet at noon at the Monten Cho station. As is customary for me, I arrived 30 minutes early. Leaning against the pillar, I do nothing but space out. It's a cute outfit. I think it's the one in the intro, too. The necklace definitely is. Tons of people pass before me. Monten is really crowded on days off. Even so, there aren't really that many families or groups of middle schoolers, everyone around me appearing to be adults. Because of that, I quickly begin to feel uneasy. Within this crowd, I am alone. Inexplicably, my head begins to hurt.
I wonder if Jimeno will be here soon.
I mutter to myself, and then I look at my shoes. Deep blue sandal boots that were this year's newest product. When Mom and I had stopped off at a department store on Saturday, she bought them for me after some coaxing on my part. They were far from what you'd call high quality. They're still a bit pricey on a middle schooler's allowance. I'm not usually the type to beg, but I couldn't take my eyes off these boots. My mom bought them with almost no resistance, saying,
"You're going out of town, so you need to look your best."
I liked both their form and their color and found them a better fit for the summer season than anything else. Why are they dwelling on these boots? Is this like a foot fetish thing? I take my cell phone out and check the time. There are still 15 minutes to go until we arrive. Since Jimeno is always 3 minutes later than the time we establish, I've got about another 20 minutes. I finished reading my paperback on the train, so I have nothing to kill time with. There's nothing I can do about it, so I decide to keep myself from boredom by watching people passing by. If I don't keep myself distracted, horrible thoughts will revive in my mind.
I'm always worrying about what will happen if I'm late, though.
It had actually been about a month and a half since Jimeno and I had gone out. We always talked at school, but rarely spent time together afterwards. Anyone who saw us probably thought we were opposites. Outings like this aside, I often spend my days off at home. When I was in elementary school, our family would go out often, but lately that's been limited to dining out on Saturdays. So when I'm asked what I do when I stay at home, I usually just say I do nothing. Doing homework and watching TV is stuff that seems pretty common to me. On the other end of the spectrum is Jimeno, who goes out regularly. I often hear stories of when she went to karaoke on weeknights, or how she traveled out of town on Sundays. She's a member of an active sports club and often wants to hang out with them afterwards. Going out of town on the already limited days we have off tends to make me think, even though it's a day to rest, I don't feel rested at all. In other words, something like this is a difference between Jimeno and I. Without much common ground between us, why we became friends is... Suddenly the light faded from my vision. It wasn't just that it had become dark, but that I had the sensation of being unable to breathe. Rather than sweating it, I got a little mad. Oh.
Ha ha ha, sorry.
Hearing my wordless protest, Jimeno pulled her hands away. I get playing the Who Am I game while covering someone's eyes, but covering up someone's mouth too was just like Jimeno. When I puff out my cheeks and object, Jimeno just smiles at me. She is not built like a middle schooler.
It's because you were staring into space, Mayu.
Instead of apologizing, Jimeno blew on the nape of my neck. Without thinking, I made a weird sound, embarrassed. I looked around 2 or 3 times, but the pedestrians walking by seemed unperturbed and didn't even look our way. The cupboard who had surprised me moves in front of me before I realize it. I like her tie.
You're mean, Jimeno. But I got to hear something good. No, you didn't. Moreover, you're...
As I say that, I check the time on my smartphone. It's 3 minutes to noon, our agreed upon meeting time.
It's not time yet. How rare. That's rude. Jeez. I'll make you a weird I'll make you make a weird noise again.
Saying that, Jimeno opens and closes her fingers in small, swift grasping motions. Times like this, I know I'd better change the subject or get messed with by Jimeno again.
Oh, by the way, did you buy a new one? You mean my necktie? Yes, I did. I thought I should get one to match my shorts. And you and I haven't hung out since around midterms, Mayu. If I buy something today, I'll be really out of money. What about the aquarium? You're still set on finding out about the urban legends then? Of course, that's my #1 goal. But as usual, I can't count the things I want to do on just one hand. Okay, I get it. As long as I get to eat cookies and cream, that is absolute. I haven't forgotten. Anyway, Mayu, aren't your sandals new?
Jimeno says as she looks at my feet, talking about 3 times as fast as she does in class.
Yeah, nice, aren't they? They're super cute. How cool, I want a pair too. Nope, then we'll be too similar. And these are the only pair of sandals I have for the summer.
Talking like this, it put me at ease. Unlike myself, who is childish, Himeno knows a lot about fashion and trends. Even here in Monten, it seems like she blends in. Most importantly, by being with Himeno and constantly chatting, I no longer feel lonely. The text kind of blends in the background. That's bugging me a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Oh yeah, Himeno, why did you bring such a huge bag? I'm glad you asked. With a hee-hee?
Himeno opens the Boston bag she had let sink down from her shoulder. A variety of things come out, such as a flashlight, insect repellent, a simple blanket, and a first aid kit. Matches and snacks like chocolate and cookies. Matches?
What is all this, Himeno? Where do you plan on going?
Ignoring the twitch developing in my face, Himeno thumps her chest.
Geez, to the aquarium, but since we're investigating urban legends, we should at least have some supplies.
Rather than investigation, the equipment she has reminds me more of going camping in the mountains. The snacks and blanket aside, where in a city this size would we need insect repellent or a flashlight? I keep those feelings to myself and just smiled. I let out a breath that is half exasperated, half amused. I don't get sick of being with Himeno. Whether Himeno is aware of my exasperated gaze or not, she starts to take something out, then quickly shoves it back in. She gives me a smile, implying some secret.
Ah, no, wait, it's too soon for you to see that. Ah, what were you about to pull out? I'm not telling.
Upon saying that, Himeno quickly closes the bag. The way I see it, it is a wonder she fit all the supplies she had out just a moment ago. I wonder where it's all being stored.
By the way, no club today?
I ask with the underlying question of whether or not today is a day off for the club. At my question, Himeno averts her eyes.
Nope, probably no club today. Really?
Giving her a brief answer, I start walking. Upon hearing her reply, I immediately understand it as, she skipped it again. But not wanting to ruin the merry mood, I merely quicken my pace. I'm not in any clubs, but even I know it's not good to skip. Speaking honestly, I want her to show up for her club, as she seems to be respected even by students from other schools. Coming here together like this makes me equally guilty, though. Once I get thinking, I don't usually stop, so the conversation shifts to a ramen shop that catches my eye.
Oh, Mayu, do you want to get lunch? Huh, you caught that?
Feeling as if she has seen right through me, we head into a nearby coffee shop. It is apparently famous following its coverage in a magazine for a sandwich that was overflowing with vegetables. Wow. I say apparently because, on excitingly finding the restaurant, Himeno shared this. Compared to a hamburger shop, this place is a bit intimidating and trending to me. But since I'm with Himeno, it doesn't bother me. The localization's a bit clumsy, but it's alright. Shoving the roast chicken sandwich with the extra olives that I ordered into my mouth, the unease I have been feeling disappears. In contrast to my fervor, Himeno casts her avocado and shrimp sandwich in small... Eats. Cats is not a verb. Her avocado and shrimp sandwich in small bites. Sounds good. Kinda.
Well then, about our plans for today.
Himeno starts in as soon as we have finished eating.
We'll start with the aquarium. No matter what, it's the main thing, so we'll have to look in the old man's ghost and the closed-off deep-sea fish booth rumors. After that, we'll go to the shops and finally have some ice cream. I think it's better to get the cookies and cream first. If you eat 2 times, you'll mess up your stomach and get fat. You won't be able to wear a bathing suit. Aw, Himeno, it's not fair for you to put it that way.
It isn't fair. Himeno's in the exercise club, so she will be fine, but for someone like me who doesn't exercise enough, it makes me stop and think. Having said I wanted to go to the pool, it is all the more important.
Okay, then we'll stick with my plan. That was a delicious meal.
Urged on by Himeno, I decided to leave the ice cream shop for another time. Talking about silly things together, we leave the station behind. As opposed to the station's excellent cooling system, the city streets have a peculiar humidity and heat to them that envelops our bodies. That's Japanese summer for you. The beginning of July. Summer's only just begun and I can already tell it's going to be a tough one. We weave our way through the crowds until we are 10 minutes away from the station, finally ending up in front of a skyscraper. The building is a symbol for the people of Monten, a combined facility for commerce, what you might call a fashion building in reference to the businesses it contains. Restaurant, okay. Reading the katakana. Monten is a town known as place people go for amusement. If you really want to have a good time, they have a movie theater, arcades, and several shops, though you need to have money. Because of that, young men and women are more numerous than boys and girls. In this town of people older than us, Himeno scans the panels for each floor without fear, saying, the aquarium is... People are concentrated around the panels. Of little help to Himeno and trying to take up as little space as possible, I leave the search to her and gaze up at the building. I look up and up and up at the top of the building. So far, I think my neck will snap.
That's magnificent.
This building was built not too long after I was born. It had been finished before I could walk, but the first and only time I came here was in elementary school. The instant I think back to my first visit, my head begins to hurt. Oh. Creepy.
No, I have to try and not think about it.
Those are things from long ago, things from the past, things that are done. I can do nothing but deal with the pain that feels as if something is pressing against the inside of my skull. I finally hear Himeno calling me in a loud voice.
The elevator's this way, come on.
I push away my headache and step through the automatic door. The information at the entrance and the placement of the crane game are exactly the same as that day, giving me a slightly bad feeling. Dun dun dun! From the elevator landing, we need to head for the top floor of the separate Mountain East building. The elevator is the type that has a glass window so you can see out. That is the only thing that distracting me from my gloom. Crowd of people get on with us, but almost all of them are gone by the time we reach the floor that contains the aquarium. They probably stopped off at the apparel or the sundry shops. It isn't that we aren't interested, but Himeno recommends, it's crowded now, so let's come back when it's less busy. And that keeps us back, deciding to stick with the plans we made at the coffee shop. It's already kind of spoopy. Stepping onto our floor, the atmosphere immediately switches to a lively one. These sounds of chatter are drowned out by the roar of a large fan. The lighting is dim and tinted slightly blue. The windows are also covered, giving the feeling that it has suddenly become night. As this is an aquarium, it makes sense that the concept is based around the ocean. Yes, the pungent smell of salt is a major change.
Amazing, it's like we dived into the deep sea. That's what I thought too, instead of being targeted as families. Lately, it seems more like a date spot for adults, or at least that's what the magazine said, but it's true. Even though this is my second time coming here, it feels like the first time. Next to the entrance is the souvenir shop, though it lacks the usual boisterous voices. It appears to be a place that can be reached both from the inside and outside, but it doesn't seem to get too many customers. Just as Himeno had said, the aquarium seems to target adults. In an atmosphere like that, even Himeno looks nervous. Hey, Mayu. What's up? I forgot to tell you one important thing.
Himeno makes a mysterious face and brings her mouth up to my ear.
What, did you drop your wallet or something? No, that's not it. This is something I heard that's a bit of an urban legend, but they say the amount of people going missing is on the rise. There's a rumor that this month alone the number missing is well into the double digits.
Huh? We have this conversation in front of the metal rack that holds the map of the aquarium. Aside from the map, there's a guide to Mountain East building and an information about affiliated hotels. I like that they're trying to world build, but some of this seems a little excessive. During that time, we hear the sound of the elevator opening and closing, but do not see the people going to the aquarium.
Montana used to be a shopping district, right? That seems to be why, even if there are a lot of runaways, the media wouldn't pay much attention. But supposedly many of the missing persons had stopped off at Mountain Aquarium. That rumor, where'd you hear it from? Who indeed? No one in particular. You know how rumors spread.
At Himeno's words, I feel a cold shiver along my spine. Regardless of how credible the rumor is, a sense of dread shoots through me. Considering my past, it's natural that I would feel connected to missing persons in my age range, especially if they are runaways. If that is the case, it would send chills along the back of my neck. Why on earth?
You could have told me that before this. Well, I thought if you heard about it, Maya, you might not have wanted to come. Oh, so you're forgetting to tell me it was a lie then, you little...
I had intended to protest firmly, but it still ended rather anticlimactically. Ghosts may exist, and they may still be unable to come back, but that doesn't mean I'm interested in visiting places where they are. This is proof that Himeno has her own strange interests, yet it still makes me feel even more worried.
This rumor has a continuation. Specifically, people who saw the deep-sea fish booth never came home.
Himeno relays those two pieces of information that frighten me with a smile. The rumor itself aside, she wanted to pass over the question of why people were able to see the closed-off deep-sea fish booth in the first place, not wanting to discuss it at all.
Wait a minute, Himeno.
Something else is tied in beneath that fear. Something about the aquarium and the missing persons who didn't come home. That was, essentially... Okay, creepy ghost girl. Creepy flashback girl. Creepy something girl.
Are you okay, Mayu? I guess I scared you a bit too much. I think that story's pretty exaggerated, so don't worry about it. I heard it's a fun aquarium. I think we should take these stories with a grain of salt, right?
Though her kindness is misdirected, its kindness just the same. Having involuntarily sat down, I take the hand Himeno extends to me. As I slowly rise to my feet, I respond,
Yeah, you're right.
To think that I would hear of a connection to my precious memory in a place like this. It's strange. After 5 years, the memory should have faded. I tell myself this. Then I let out a small sigh. Himeno is actually showing concern, so I sit down on a bench in the rest area next to the souvenir shop. Himeno even brings me a can of cocoa. As I'm drinking it, she buys our tickets. With her doing all this, I have to go with her. Are you okay, miss? The fact that I'm thinking thoughts like, this canned cocoa is a little weak, is proof that I'm cooling down. As I'm starting to feel better, a male voice calls out to me. While holding my half-finished cocoa, I turn in the direction the voice came from. Rather than the boy's voice I expect, it belongs to an adult, so I respond timidly.
I'm okay, so...
Oof, no need to be so vigilant. Always be going to be creeping on little girls. He's wearing a gray knit cap and a brown running shirt. He's tall, even for a guy, so I have to look up at him. His build is almost all muscle, and my shoulders shudder a bit in surprise. He appears well over the age of 20, so I can't think of a reason he would want to talk to us. Whether he realizes I'm looking up at him or not, he plunks down right next to me. Even after he sits down, we aren't sitting at the same height. Trying to fix my posture, I move away from him a little. Are you not feeling well?
I'm fine, really.
Thanks to my nerves and my wariness, I end up speaking unnaturally fast. Moreover, if he really is a kind person, I might end up abusing his good intentions. How cold.
It figures.
I say again without thinking. Without knowing he's so happy about what he's so happy about, the man's mouth loosens into a grin. You're pretty clever. I give up. But you know, I seriously am worried about you. Your face is pale and all.
That's...
His kind words taking me by surprise. I inadvertently avert my eyes. For some reason, I become strangely embarrassed and begin tapping my index finger on my can of cocoa. Well, that aside, since you came to have fun, let me show you around.
We are really just fine.
Yeah. The words come out so naturally they surprise even me. I have now become a complete idiot, and my eyes meet his. I work part-time in this building, so I'm familiar with it. This area, that is.
Hey, what are you doing? Himeno.
I gasp and look up. Himeno is there carrying 2 tickets and some pamphlets, and he looks ready to die. With her hands on her hips and her cheeks puffed out, Himeno glares at the man with the narrow eyes.
I think the only ones allowed to hit on middle schoolers would be high schoolers.
No, I'm not trying to hit on anybody. This girl just looked unwell is all.
Was he hitting on someone?
I turn to the man and tilt my head. Since Himeno has come, I've relaxed a bit and can look him in the eyes. You're asking me that?
So that was what you were doing.
Great. Himeno says in an exasperated voice in my place. She says, "You're the worst," and grabs my arm, pulling me to her side. The man rests his elbows on his knees and shrugs. He punctuates the shrug with a sigh.
Mayu, let's go, and hey, mister.
Himeno mutters, facing the man's chest. Hearing her say mister and giving me a puzzled look, the man shows us the plastic name tag hanging from his neck. I must have forgotten to take this off.
Himeno, speaking of which, he did say he works part-time in this building. Then is that his entry card or something?
He slaps his knees and rises to his feet. He probably played some sort of sport or something because his movement as he stands looks so effortless. I'm Hiyoshi Kenji. I work part-time at the shop downstairs. With this entry card, I can get to the Mountain Aquarium at a discount.
Is it a company employee discount?
Something like that. I'm not exactly a company employee, but I get in half off anyway, so I come here often.
Really? That's quite unexpected for you, mister.
When you become older, you crave these soothing experiences as well. And I'm not old enough to be a mister.
Now he says it. Compared to us, you're definitely old enough to be a mister.
Yoshi-san makes a face like he's getting angry, then sniffs in a self-deprecating manner. He appears to be a little older than a college student, so calling him an old enough to be a mister is probably rude, but Himeno said the impression he gave was pretty close. With the aquarium as a shared point of interest, Himeno's attitude towards Hiyoshi-san softens. As proof, Himeno talks with Hiyoshi-san about the shops in this building. I don't really know a lot about brands, so I sip my remaining cocoa and listen from the outside. My iced cocoa has become a lukewarm cocoa.
Well, mister, are you also well versed in urban legends?
On hearing Himeno's question, my head pops up in surprise. The corner of Hiyoshi-san's mouth lifts into a grin. That's a rather unexpected for you as well, so you're interested in such things.
Of course I am. You're only young once, so you have to satisfy your curiosity. We're looking into the closed-down deep-sea fish booth. There's a rumor that it's open on the day of the full moon. Do you know anything about it?
Hiyoshi-san places his hand on his chin and looks down, grunting loudly. He glances at me, then looks at the entrance next, then finally turns to Himeno and opens his mouth.
I think you need to give up on that one thing. Normally, since I'm a regular here...
Oh, sorry, it's him. I think you need to give up on that one thing. Naturally, since I'm a regular here, I often hear rumors like there are spirits floating in the tank, so every time a person dies, the jellyfish tank increases by 1, and so on.
Himeno-chan, the story you mentioned shouldn't be anything more than one of those rumors, but... Stop dancing around it, just tell me.
Previously, I knew someone who went looking into this just as you girls are doing now, Himeno-chan. He went missing soon after.
Missing?
Without thinking about it, I joined their conversation. If someone has gone missing here at Mountain Aquarium, it holds significance for me as well.
Is that for real?
I glanced back in surprise. Himeno is still looking at him with doubt in her eyes. Hiyoshi-san listens to what Himeno said and with a playful smile responds, "Just kidding, it's a lie."
I wonder if it is a lie.
Or I wonder if it is a lie. Because of the words he muttered, my curiosity has been piqued. The tense face he made as he told the story of an acquaintance who went missing, I couldn't imagine that being faked.
That's right, but if that's the case, then this really might interest you, Mayu. I thought from the beginning that it would be better just to give up. No way, I already bought the tickets anyway.
Himeno's face shows that she's enjoying herself to the end, and she tails my arm. Tails? My arm to gently pull me closer to her. This was the signal that she was ready to go, and in my mind I prayed that nothing would happen.
Well
then, want to walk around with me? Yoshi-san calls out to Himeno, who is said later, but it's me rather than Himeno who hears him and spins around first. So I make eye contact with Yoshi-san and say, I think we'll pass.
I think we'll pass.
It's fine, don't worry about it, but I have a day off anyway. Besides, I think you'd be better off having someone as knowledgeable about the place as I am.
Mister, that's not a good look. Maya said she's got no interest in you.
She's not that into you, dude. Himeno's late response seems to pierce right through Hiyoshi-san.
Himeno, it's not that I'm not interested, but it's not that I am either. Maya, don't say any more than you already have.
She's got my back. A bitter grin spreading across his face, Hiyoshi-san waves to us. Without looking back, we head for the gate to the Mountain Aquarium. The aquarium entrance is so dark we can't see in front of us until we are inside. I can feel the cold air from inside on my skin. I get a sensation of something heavy in that air, so I begin rubbing my arm. Naturally, there's no mark indicating something has touched me. And called back by Himeno's, "Hey, let's go," I pass my ticket through the machine.
It figures that the whole time if you'd come on the day of the full moon, all the water would change to blood thing is a lie. The water's normal. Of course it is, jeez.
Right away, Himeno says so regretfully, even though she's unable to hold back her excitement at having come to the aquarium, and her steps are fittingly light. As we come out of the gate, there are several small tanks nearby. Mountain Aquarium's first and most celebrated exhibit is the one displaying fish native to Tokyo Bay. There are 4 tanks in this corner from left to right, each one showing the environments of the river flowing into Tokyo Bay. Brackish waters, shoals, and open water come one right after the other. Himeno giggles as rockfish, porgy, and other fish we recognize from the supermarket are also there. This booth also showcases environmental problems in order to prompt consciousness of the issue, causing a tightening in my chest. Water pollution is a serious problem. Tomorrow I think I'll try asking Mom to use a little less detergent. I love how the Tokyo Bay Bridge there.
Suddenly it got like this.
Himena's reaction is the polar opposite of mine. Even as I'm reading the panels, she's uninterested in the display. Just like that, I read every last panel. Himeno has long since stopped watching me and has crossed her arms, puffed out her cheeks.
Thanks for waiting, Himeno. Geez, you're too serious, Mayu. If you act like that the whole time, the day will be over. And they'll close. That'll be fine. This area isn't that big, and it's not like I'm going to read everything.
As soon as she hears what I said, an expression of dissatisfaction appears on Himeno's face.
Well, let's head to the next area. Next is the tunnel tank. There might be ghosts. Or maybe that'll be with the human-like fish? Geez, come on already.
Even saying something like that, upon entering the aquarium, I'd begun to enjoy myself. Upon cheerfully calling out to Himeno, my previous unease has disappeared, leaving me ready to move forward with a light step. I like the music.
Amazing! Really amazing and pretty.
With no door to partition this booth and the next, passing beside this tank took us to the next one, where larger breeds of fish swim about. I like that the boots match everything too. Character designer did some good work. This is no ordinary tank, but rather a giant tube-like tunnel, with the left and right sides connected above our heads in an arc. As we walk through the tunnel, we're able to watch the fish moving about in 3 dimensions. We bring our faces close as we can get to the glass, giving the illusion that we're in the ocean. Just watching the mantas, the rays, the various types of sharks, and the sea turtles can be intoxicating for us humans. When I was a child, I thought the ceiling might crack, but now I pass that feeling up, leaving only the throbbing of my heart. The water is a giant bundle of blue, and various colors within it shooting every which way. Being able to see how big they are up close, separated by mere centimeters of glass, is so impressive it gives me the greatest realization of our shared existence. Here, Himeno's pace slows, and she takes her steps one by one.
Hey, Mayu, look at those huge fangs. Himeno, that fish is cute too. Ooh-ah, the stingray's face is creepy. Really? I think it's cute. Ah, Manta, it's huge. That little one over there looks yummy.
Talking as the words come to us, our conversation seems out of sync. Our feelings of being touched, however, are the same. And Himeno's enjoyment is obvious. Being surrounded by the water and the fish as we are, we feel as though we're freed from any sense of time.
Mayu, doesn't this Ray's face look human? Maybe so. It does. The mystery of the human-faced fish is solved. And naturally, well, if you're okay with it, then so am I.
Thus we learn the true nature of one of the urban legends. It's fine either way, but for Himeno, this is probably best. Though from Himeno's enthusiastic stance, even if she watches the fish, she probably realizes just how implausible it all is. Rather than get tired of it, though, I'm having fun. We move leisurely through the tunnel, coming to a stop at the center. Up to this point, only the big things have caught our eyes, but on closer inspection of the tank, there's also sand piled up to our knees, with shrimps, shellfish, small fish, and other small creatures dwelling there. Compared to the manta rays, the small shrimp, which can't even be considered child size, seem so cute and innocent as they swim about, breaking through the sand.
Hey, look, Himeno. Ah, it's tiny.
As expected, Himeno has followed the human-faced manta ray, and on seeing my fingertips, speaks in a playful tone. Upon sensing the tremors from Himeno poking the glass, the ray kicks at the sand and flees deeper into the tank.
Man, it's gone now.
As I say this to Himeno, I smile at a small shrimp. Himeno does the same, trying to keep the seam of her mouth closed. For long, the two of us are looking up at the ceiling, toying with the question of just how high it is. Even as we look up, we can only see the fish swimming, never the ceiling itself. Looking up from the bottom of the sea, one would normally see the rays of the sun piercing the water, but looking up here was the opposite, with the bottom of the sea seeming to continue forever. It could have been the reflection of the light, or the ceiling really might have been too high. As I realize I can't be sure, my eyes settle on a small but characteristically long-nosed shark swimming past.
Sharks. Sharks? That's a ray, isn't it? You just saw it from behind earlier.
As soon as I mutter that, Himeno responds. It's true that, although I'm interested in this type, Himeno is fixated on the human-faced ray. Uh-oh.
Huh? What's up?
Himeno asks, but I falter. The conversation gives me a sense of what you might call deja vu. How strange. I felt as if I've had this conversation before. At this moment, my vision is dyed ultramarine. Ultramarine is not red, but okay. Whoa. That's weird. Oh, hello, creepy girl with no shoes.
Huh?
It was no longer Himeno in front of me, but someone else that had caught my attention.
This can't be real. Hey, Mayu?
The ultramarine color unchanged. Within it, a face like mine passes before me. A face like mine from 5 years ago. Oh, it's her. Wearing an ultramarine overcoat that merges with the color of my vision. The girl turns to me and seems to be giving me a gentle smile.
Mayu, wait.
Mary. Or did she have a sister? Without hearing Himeno calling me, I start running. We haven't finished looking at everything in the tube tunnel tank, but there's something more important right in front of me. Long hair that looks almost transparent. A thick blue coat. Cute boots with fur on them. There's no way I could forget that outfit. It's because it was the outfit my little sister, nanDEMOnai, wore when she went missing here 5 years ago. The girl quickens her pace as if playing with me, and disappears out the other side of the tunnel. There are hardly any people there, but I lose sight of her between the shadows of the tank in the corner.
Mari, how? Why? Hey, Mayu, wait!
Breathing heavily, Himeko chases after me. I say sorry and break away from her, searching for the vision of Mari. As I come out of the tunnel, I survey the area, spotting a winter skirt nearby. I chase after that swaying form. Behind me, I can hear the intensity of Himeno's rushing steps and quicken my pace.
Gah!
Having fallen into a trance, I realize what's going on when I slam into someone and fall on my backside. Oh, it's not Hiyoshi. Who are you? Shh. The girl clicks her tongue as she picks up what she had dropped. As I start to excuse me to her, she's already moving past me and runs off elsewhere. Through that brief incident, I'm unable to find my way out of my confusion.
Anyway, Mari.
I'm sorry about the person I'd run into, and feel flustered. In that exchange, I lose sight of both that long hair and the long skirt.
But you were going this way, right?
I'm not sure myself where I'm running to, but I think you can say I'm definitely running with all my heart. I pass between more tanks than I can remember, but I don't pay them one bit of attention. I just keep following Mari's back, running. Mari is just as bashful as she was the day she disappeared.
Mayu, get a hold of yourself.
Those few words end my chase. To be more accurate, it was the end for Himeno, who had grabbed my wrist.
Huh? You suddenly took off, and you wouldn't turn around no matter how many times I called you. Even when you dropped something, you had no idea. What happened all of a sudden? Wait, Himeno, if I go after Mari, I'll explain everything, so... Hold it.
I look back at Himeno upon hearing her extremely hurt voice. I see tears forming in Himeno's eyes, and I turn my whole body to face her. I stand in silence like this for several seconds. If I tell Himeno about Mari, I'm sure she will regret bringing me to Mountain Aquarium. When she followed me, she had to have seen Mari. It's natural that she would have some misgivings about me chasing some total stranger, since she doesn't know Mari. Even so, I'm not sure what to say. I apologize now, and play dumb. We can probably go back to playfully searching the aquarium for information. That is not something I can do. It isn't the similarities that are the problem. Mari is here, and just as she had been on that day, there's no way I can go home without taking her with me. Mayu, tell me what's going on. Who is Mari? Why do you keep running off without saying anything? Tears are pouring out of Himeno's eyes. I can't understand why she is so sad, but still, my little sister.
My little sister, she was here. Little sister? See, the girl I was chasing, she's my little sister. Mari disappeared 5 years ago at this aquarium.
Looking at Himeno's tear-stained face, I no longer feel like hiding anything. Perhaps in the depths of my consciousness, I'm hoping Himeno will become satisfied and say she wants to look for Mari with me.
I'll explain in more detail later.
On top of that, when I look back once more, Himeno squeezes my hand and holds me back. This is the gentlest, but the strongest that she's held my hand. Himeno stares into my eyes, then tilts her head to the side.
What do you mean you were chasing someone? I told you, the little girl that was in front of me, wearing the ultramarine coat and the boots. Remember, that was Mari. Exactly how she looked long ago. Mayu, snap out of it.
Himeno shouts. It isn't simply a loud voice, but one weighed down with great sadness. It definitely gets through to me, but that doesn't mean it will stop me. Because without a doubt, I was right. Mari had been right before my eyes, so I had to chase.
Let's just say that, even if this mighty girl is here, she would have grown in 5 years, and her clothes wouldn't be the same. It's summer, so she wouldn't wear a coat. Moreover, she was there. I saw her. No, Mayu. No, Mayu, you weren't chasing anyone. You just took off running, leaving me behind, okay? Could you just calm down for a bit? Our tickets will get us back in, so how about some cocoa in the rest area? I think you're tired, since you were a little shaky earlier. Himeno seems pretty frantic, so I know she isn't lying just to persuade me. There's no way my seeing Mari there was a lie. That's why I start to speak without really knowing what I want to say. Himeno.
Mayu, okay? Wiping away her tears, Himeno smiles at me. Surely she has plenty of strong feelings about this whole thing. I'm sure she has loads to say about keeping the Mari thing and my reason for resisting visiting Mountain Aquarium quiet. Even though it seems as though Himeno has accepted me, she just smiles and lets it go.
That's probably right.
Surely, if we're by the entrance, we'll know if Mari comes out.
Mayu, that's good. That's right. That's more like you.
Let's go have some cocoa, and you can tell me everything. As she smiles, Himeno once again takes my hand into her soft palm.
Oh, that's right. You dropped this. You've got to be more careful.
With the hand that isn't holding my own, she hands me something small. It's a keychain. The blue droplet shape is inlaid with stardust and also holds a starfish charm. It isn't exactly rare, but being a giveaway item. But why did Himeno have it? Only questions arise in my mind. Why, when that keychain was... On thinking about it, I instinctively shake off Himeno's hand.
Hey, what are you doing after I picked it up for you and all?
Himeno's voice is like an arrow piercing through me. The pain in my chest is nothing more than discomfort. What is Himeno saying? That isn't mine, so I can't possibly have dropped it. And now I can't look at Himeno's face. I'm guessing it was the sisters.
Liar.
Huh? Liar?
That's not mine. It isn't something I dropped. It was Mari's. Mari dropped it.
That can't be. I'm not lying. Really, there was no Mari-chan, so she couldn't have dropped the keychain. Himeno was becoming gruff as she continued.
Really, isn't it you who's lying? No one else is here. That's enough, Himeno, you dummy.
Saying only that, I turn my back on Himeno. When I glance back, Himeno's shocked expression is getting further away. She was there. Mari had definitely been here. Because the keychain Himeno had belonged to Mari. There's no way I could forget. It was just before Mari went missing.
For the two of you, just this once.
Upon saying that, Mom handed us each 100 yen coins. That was a cold winter day. At the Mountain Aquarium souvenir area, the smell of construction lingered faintly in the air. There were manta and penguin stuffed animals, stationery with the logo on it, and various souvenirs. At the entrance to that souvenir stand, there were gacha machines containing that keychain. I don't remember all the various types, but Star Sand was packed into little plastic drops, and the charms were all modeled after fish at the aquarium. I'm guessing Star Sand is glitter? It's very typical for a gacha, but that time it seemed very enticing to me. It was the same for Mari, and we gauged into the gacha machine. Mari was the one who would usually beg our parents at this point, but neither of us had bought a souvenir, and both of us said we wanted the keychains. Since Mom couldn't be completely broken, she emphasized the one-time only bit.
Yay!
Mari held up both hands with glee while I probably just smiled. I remember that inside. I was just as happy. As to which of us went first, it was of course the more assertive Mari. She was always like this, a cheerful and inquisitive child.
How cute, Mr. Star.
Mari got a starfish charm keychain. At this point, Mari still didn't know the difference between a starfish and a star. I was the next to get one. It was a pink drop with a jellyfish charm. Cute.
Ah, jellyfish. Ah, that's the one I wanted most.
Mari pointed to the index finger of her tiny hand, exclaiming in a loud voice. Mari was just learning how to use first person when she mentioned herself. Instead of normal I or me, she said it slowly.
Hey, big sister, trade me. No way, I want this one. Ew.
Naturally, as I had already fallen in love with that design, I obstinately turned her down. Upon begging my mother for one more time, my mother, who had warned us earlier, held her purse strings tight, leaving Mari to sulk.
Fine, stupid big sister.
Without listening to my mother's admonishments, she ran off. Sulking after being called stupid, I naturally didn't chase her right away. My mother, being optimistic about the aquarium's small size, also waited a while to go looking for Madi. So much for that. And now, all I'm left with are my regrets. If only I'd gone after her sooner. If only I'd traded keychains in the first place. Even so, the past is unchanging, and I'm left with only my regrets to bear. So in case I could ever trade with Madi again, I've stubbornly carried around that keychain, like a treasure, the one with the pink droplet shape and the jellyfish charm. I rummaged through my bag, seeking to feel the keychain in my hand. Huh? Why? At a time like this, I'd forgotten to bring it. The keychain wasn't in the bag nor in my pockets. Huh. A sigh naturally slipped out of my body. After all, I've lost sight of Mari, and strayed from Himeno. Himeno has the building map, so there's nothing I can do. Huh? At that moment, a pungent aroma floats by and causes me to speak up in surprise. Unable to bear the irritating stench, I pinch my nose. Still, the stench seems to twist my nose. It's made of the smell of sewage and sulfur and the nauseating stink of vinegar. Uh-oh. As soon as I try to get away from the smell, something soft creeps along the bottom of my foot. As I hesitantly look down, I realize the true identity of the putrid odor. It's a corpse. I'm not sure what type, but it's as big as my arm span. The body is slowly decaying and hasn't retained its original form. Yet by its bulging round eyes and slightly extended tail fin, I can just barely tell it was a fish. I couldn't tell right away, but it has a silhouette similar to a pirarucu. I feel like I've seen those eerie glaring eyes, characteristic of a freshwater fish.
I feel sick.
I move my foot slowly, and a small fragment of the corpse sticks to the bottom of my shoe, on the underside of which I notice something wriggling desperately. The slight sound of flapping wings departs from beside my ear, and I understand the wriggling thing is an insect.
Ah!
Maggots. Shaking, chills run up my spine as somebody had pressed ice to it. I take a step back and drop my cell phone. The phone reacts with the backlight and LCD screen coming on, illuminating the dead body. The syrupy dead body absorbs the light, and the winged insect that flees to avoid it. There's also a meandering right nematode that seems not to notice. The backlight soon disappears, leaving its stench amidst the darkness. The shadows of these hideous insects are scorched into my retinas, and they sway like light off a heat haze in the darkness. Something was creeping up from the pit of my stomach. I'll endure it. I immediately shut my mouth, enduring what had come up. The intermingled acidic taste of the vomit that had come up and the scent of stomach acid lingering in my nostrils mixed with saliva and caused my eyes to water in pain. Why was it so painful? I can't figure out the answer to my doubts, not at all. I cover my eyes with both hands. I couldn't have made it if I didn't. But shutting out my vision leaves my sense of smell, causing the smell of rotten water and the stench of a dead body to become more intense, so I uncover my eyes.
No, what is this?
This is a place for the customers. Is it really alright for this to be here? On top of that, it was in the middle of chasing Madi, wasn't I? No, that isn't the problem. It's strange enough that there's a place like this in the middle of an aquarium.
Anyway, I have to get out of here.
The stench is so overpowering. If I can see it. I want to get out of here quickly, satisfying myself with the argument that it's a garbage dump or something, and that if only I get away, get out of here. At any rate, I can go back the way I came. No, that's no good. I might run into Himeno. At this moment, I don't want to see her face. My eyes having adjusted a bit to the darkness, I search for a way out. Here the tanks are broken, the little remaining water stinking, and the bodies of living things have tumbled out here and there. Think about how happy I am that I can't see. Even so, to find the exit, I'll have to look around. My nose has begun to go numb, and thanks to that, I'm somehow able to retain my sanity. Before I find a dim emergency light behind one of the tanks, and head toward it as if it were the last hope I could cling to. I feel squishing several times beneath my feet, but I try to ignore it and move on. As I move towards the emergency light, it seems the smell is coming faint. Did she grab her phone? Just before the door, that's when I get used to the scattered shards of glass around the rotten fish corpses. The tip of my shoe feels as if it has kicked something hard. Something different from before. Wondering what I'd kicked, I casually look down. No. I get the sensation that all the blood has stopped flowing through me, and that my heart has stopped completely. The round thing that I kicked has patches of hair, 2 eyes, a nose with a bone to it, and a mouth. Altogether it is Uh-oh. The round thing I kicked altogether at his human face. Great. Speaking accurately, it's a head rather than a face. It's completely lifeless when my foot touches it and rolls away with a flopping sound. Seeing the state the head is in, I begin to feel ill again, despite having finally calmed down from before. Of the white cranium, only the forehead area seems to be exposed. Seems this is new, and it has only just begun to decay. No, for starters. There's no way a human head should be rolling around here. It's my imagination. It has to be from some model. I haven't yet looked in the direction it was rolling. Oh, so it wasn't attached to anything. Great. Convincing myself that it isn't a human head. It really is different, so there was no satisfying myself. I place my hands on the door in an attempt to escape. Unable to control my shaking hands, it takes 3 tries before I can open the door. It's a heavy fire door that is usually open. Well, that's great. Good use of a door sound, though. I like that. Uh-oh.
This is...
I step inside with my thoughts racing, and the atmosphere changes completely once more. I can hear the sound of the door closing behind me. Inside is a very clean place. The transparent water is tinted a faint blue, and inside float fantasy-like jellyfish. Countless pillar-shaped tanks are spread around, and the water shimmers as it reflects the light of the fluorescent lamp, red and yellow, green and purple, the jellyfish's bodies diffusing light like a prism. In spite of the strange space I have reached, I'm fascinated by the shimmering live art display.
Himeno,
I mutter without thinking. Then I quickly shake my head, erasing the image of Himeno's face that appears in my mind. Earlier, she didn't come after me. After all, Himeno chose on her own part to part ways from me. I'm sure it's because she dislikes me now. It isn't something I should worry about. Even at a quick glance, I can see that there are various types of jellyfish in the tank. Having made efficient use of the small space, it's a charming area. It vividly expresses the starry sky, as is fitting of the name Mountain Aquarium. Compared to the earlier Fish of the World booth, this one isn't the least bit in decay.
I wonder if Marty came this way.
I do care about Himeno.
I feel worried about Himeno all of a sudden. I'll go back.
If I think of whether or not it's alright for just me to enjoy something so pretty, I reach for the door behind me. Even though we fought, Himeno and I are friends. Sharing is such a lovely memory that will surely help us make up quickly. I step forward, and it is at that moment...
Huh?
When I open the door and step through, there's no Fish of the World booth. Before I can even rationalize the scene before me, I'm pulled in by some sort of swell. What? Trying to figure out what's wrong, I realize I'm having trouble getting air. I really want air, so I pause for breath. My mouth fills with a fishy stench, brine, seawater. I know from the salty taste that I've swallowed seawater. The reason I can't breathe is because all around me is ocean water. I understand that I am in the ocean, devoid of light, no sound, in the darkness. Wondering why I move my limbs. At this rate I will drown. It hasn't been more than a minute since I got pulled under the sea. How many seconds have passed at this point? No, that isn't it. I have to get above water. However, up to this point, there's been no light overhead, and I'm forced into an inevitable battle with my breath. I frantically endure my suffocation, swimming higher and higher. Suddenly being thrown into the water hasn't thrown off my sense of up or down, as the desire to live serves me as an instinct to guide me upward. That's usually not how that works. I still can't see, but I'm still alright. Just like that, I seem to have answered my own question. I can feel the clothes I'm wearing become heavy. However, if I have time to shed my clothes, then I have time to continue upward. My thinking is that alone. I've heard that there's high pressure in the deep part of the ocean that crushes any living thing, but my body is completely fine. That means where I am at the moment shouldn't be that deep. If I swim hard enough, I should make it. I just have to hit the surface and take a deep breath. How many seconds have passed at this point? I have no sense of time whatsoever in this darkness. Even so, I know that some time has passed since I was thrown into the ocean. A minute probably passed a while ago. Here, my consciousness has begun to fade. Immediately after I see the darkness of death, a small light illuminates the tip of my nose. Are we gonna make it? Because I've been swimming so frantically, I haven't noticed, but it seems as though I've gone up quite a ways. We'll be alright, the surface is close. I reach out my hand, I reach towards that light. That is all I can do. That's because my legs won't move. No matter how frantically I try to move them, my legs won't even quiver. It feels as something has snared my legs. It has the elasticity of a bottomless trampoline. From the tips of my toes to my rear end, that soft sensation wraps tightly around me. I want to think this is a lie. No, I have actually decided I will not believe it. That a giant octopus has wrapped itself around my legs. Its gum-like suckers are the size of the palm of my hand. I can't even imagine how large its entire body is. Oh, this is bad. The light is getting further away. My eyes have already closed. For some reason, Jimena's smiling face floats before me. Though it should be her anger face that I see last. Just like that, I'm in darkness. As much as it has tightened up, my leg has lost all feeling. No wonder, my leg is no longer what it once was. With the depletion of my oxygen supply, my brain has already changed into a machine for merely processing my situation. Within the darkness, it dispassionately communicates my non-existent will to my four limbs, which have lost all sensation. It won't be long before the only thing that I can sense is darkness. That's because I have already become part of that darkness. Welp. But wait, there's more? And that's a bad end. So don't go back for Jimeno, everybody. I don't know how deep this demo goes, but we've been going for a while now, so I think I'll leave it at that. And yeah, I'm probably going to pick up the full version of this, because nothing else I can do for my Horror Nights on my live stream. But yeah, that's Sound of Drop, Fall into Poison. And that's neat. It's a lot to take in. I'm still trying to figure out what's going on, but yeah, I would say check it out. Demo's on Steam. I'm not sure if the full version is up yet, but I hope it is soon, because I'm into it. Thanks for stopping by and watching this video. If you'd like to like, comment, and or subscribe, by all means, do so. If not, don't feel pressured. If you're looking for more new content, click the right thumbnail. If you're looking for more old content, click the left thumbnail, or go rifling around in the many playlists we have on this channel. You can also check out nanDEMOnai.com for written work, stream highlights, and a slightly more organized batch of playlists from this channel. It's where all my gaming related stuff goes. Twitch.tv/nanDEMOnai is where I stream every day, and you can follow that for more content all of the time. There's also my Twitter account where you can catch my inane ramblings on a day-to-day basis. And if you'd like to support me doing more of these videos, more streaming, and more pretty much surviving, by all means, please click that Patreon link. Every little bit helps.